Happy fall, folks. I'm going to prune up a few trees today and prune some moss as well, I think. I'll start with my little tiny Cotoneaster, my mame Cotoneaster back there. It needs a prune and the moss needs to be pruned. I want to prune the moss on my birthday maple, and maybe I'll prune the extensions on my deciduous elm here. So that's the plan. So we'll start with my mame Cotoneaster. I put this Cotoneaster in this tiny pot this spring and then just left it alone. And I kept it in an escape pot, and the escape pot I think worked pretty well for it. It sent out a few escape roots and has also sent out a few extensions. So I think it's fully recovered from the repotting process. It had been in the ground, so it was quite the transition for the little tree, but it did well. So I'm gonna do exactly what I did with my last Cotoneaster. I gotta prune these big moss pillows down. A viewer called it a moss donut. Kind of is a moss donut. There's the moss donut. I'm just gonna prune these extensions now. So there's extensions. I need to look at this. I mean, that really was the main thing I needed to do with this tree. I think I will cut off this little end here. Shorten that up a bit. But yeah, I love the colors on this. Not only do you have the red berries, but it has some really red orangey leaves on it right now. So that's pretty nice. I'm gonna trim this off. I don't want a branch there. Let's see, what else? Oh, we have an awkward shoot coming down here. Trim those off. Let's see, what else do we got? Yeah, I don't really want any branches here. Go. Yeah, it's looking a lot better. Well, I kind of like the berry hanging down there. Could prune that. I think I'll leave it. The very tip of this too. Prune that. But yeah, that looks pretty good. Not too bad for its first year in a bonsai pot. It looks quite convincing as a little miniature apple tree. Only get better with time. So now, let's prune the moss donut. Now let's reapply this. Alright, so one final spin. I did end up pruning that little shoot that was right here. It was pointed directly downwards, just kind of looked awkward. So final spin for ya. Yeah, I love the look of these tiny little Cotoneasters. I guess that's why I have two. All right, on to the next tree. So this Quince lives in this bigger escape pot with the two Cotoneasters. So I just wanted to show the, actually I want to rip my Cotoneasters out and have them fall over. I wanted to just show the escape rooting. So, yeah, check that out. Not too bad. Escape pots work. So I was thinking maybe I'll leave this till spring, but I think I'll just prune it now. Just gonna do it now. And there we go. Just a lot of root. Alright, I'm gonna get this cleaned up. So here's the Quince. This is Hime I got from Evergreen Garden Works. So I'll start with the top. No clear plan on this one. I just I want movement in the branches, so I'll leave an internode or two and just prune it from there. I did have this one wired for a bit. That's how I achieved some of this movement, and I think I need to do that again maybe. But again, I don't really have a clear plan for this one. Here's a stub. And I don't want to prune off any too much of the this wood that was produced this year, because this tree for me is really about the flowers. So yeah, I might prune it more, but I'll leave it there for now. Actually, there's some stubs here. I'm gonna go get my branch cutter. Alright, so some stub work. Stub. There's a stub. Stub. All right, that's good. Now let's prune that moss. Okay. Some moss out. Yeah, and you can tell the quince is sending roots up into the moss, actually. So that's what the base looks like. This is a new shoot from this year. I might just keep it. I'll leave it alone. Yeah. Put that aside. So here's a final spin of the quince all cleaned up. Again, nothing special, but when I got this, it was just a really young plant, a single shoot rooted cutting, and over the last few years I do have a bit of, a structure going, and it's all about the flowers with this one, while at the same time having, an interesting scaffolding of branches for those flowers. All right, on to the next one. So on to my birthday maple, and I want to work on this one because I want to capture the great color on this tree on video. And in my area, the fall colors have been just great this year. I think it's because we haven't had any sudden freezes. It has gone below freezing, but nothing really severe that I think has damaged the leaves too badly. So they've colored really well. Just pretty much every tree species around the area is looking great this year. But yeah, the maples are really popping, at least in my part of the world. So this tree, I'm just gonna take care of the moss. You can see, just really thick, so thick. And I might prune up the top a little bit later on, but not really. I gave it a pruning at the end of spring, I think, and it sent out a little bit of a second flush, but not really. So I also call this my claw maple because I think the nebari looks like a hand. So yeah, I'm gonna actually go get my toothbrush and scrub the base of the tree a little bit. So here's that nebari. We'll spin it around. You can see the fingers right here, and then the thumbs over here. But I think it's pretty neat nebari. I like it. And when I first styled this tree, this trunk right here, I ripped a big branch off and kind of opened up a big wound here, and it's healed quite well. And I actually kind of like it. I think it gives that trunk some character. And you hear like people talk about how maples often, the desirable thing with a maple is that has this smooth, flawless trunk. And so you want to minimize the scars on your maples. But you know, when I walk around my neighborhood and look at the maples in my neighborhood, I have some really old trees here that are many decades old. And their trunks are pretty gnarly and have a lot of wounds, a lot of bulges. I love a good Japanese maple that has a flawless trunk, of course. That's good too, but yeah, I really kind of like the trunk on this. I like the damage. But yeah, by far, you know, it's not an ideal nebari in one definition of good nebari, but you know, for me, it works. It's neat. All right, we'll trim the moss up and put that back on. All right, so I've finished. What a difference it makes to reveal that nebari. It's good to see it again. So I'll also zoom out a little bit and spin the full tree for you. So here's the full tree in all its autumnal glory, looking awesome. This one's really coming along. I'm pleased with it. I think as I continue to clip and grow over the years, this is going to be a pretty great tree. Hope you're enjoying your fall and your fall pruning. Until next time, happy bonsaiing.